Imagine handing a complete stranger the keys to a truck loaded with $2 million worth of temperature-controlled pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Right. And you know absolutely nothing about this person except, well, what you managed to read on a single web page for maybe 30 seconds.
Which is wild.
It really is.
Wow.
But in the modern freight industry, that exact scenario happens every minute of every single day.
Oh, absolutely.
So today is June Earth 2026. And when you think of the freight and trucking industry, you probably picture, massive physical assets.
Like the 18-wheelers rolling down the highway.
Exactly. Massive diesel engines, truck stops, endless stretches of asphalt. But today's deep dive reveals that the real battleground in this space is, well, it's entirely digital.
Right. It's a completely different landscape now.
Yeah. We have this incredible source material today, Digital Strategy for Modern Freight Carrier Websites. And we are exploring how and why a freight carrier's website has evolved from what used to be just a basic digital brochure into this highly complex, high-stakes engine.
It really is an engine. It's doing so much heavy lifting.
It is. I mean, we were talking about a platform that acts as a corporate sales rep, an urgent recruiting office, a fraud prevention tool, and like a live tracking dashboard all at the exact same time.
And it has to do all of that flawlessly.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this. Because on the surface, trucking websites sound like a very, very niche B2B topic.
Yeah.
But the underlying mechanics of what is happening here offer this brilliant masterclass in digital strategy that you listening to this right now, can apply directly to your own field.
Yeah, because the broader data on business transactions highlights exactly why this shift is happening everywhere.
Right.
Across all industries, 61% of B2B buyers now prefer self-service research before they even consider speaking to a human representative.
Wow. 61%.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
That is a fundamental rewiring of business psychology. We are not talking about updating web design or picking a sleeker font or just modernizing a logo.
Right, it's way deeper than that.
Exactly. We are talking about shippers aggressively evaluating carriers online before they ever request a rate or book a load of freight. The website is no longer the introduction to a vetting process.
It is the vetting process.
Precisely. It's the entire thing.
And the stakes of that vetting process are basically life or death for these logistics companies.
Well, without a doubt.
Because before a trucking company can sell its hauling services to a major retailer or recruit a new driver to get behind the wheel, they have to mathematically and legally prove they are a legitimate operation.
Right, which has become incredibly hard to do recently.
Exactly. Because the logistics industry has been completely rocked over the last 3 years by this absolute epidemic of freight fraud.
Yeah, it's been devastating.
Specifically something called double brokering, which is just crazy.
Double brokering is, it's a brilliant, albeit highly destructive mechanism of fraud.
Break that down for us. How does it actually work?
So a scammer sets up a fake digital storefront posing as a legitimate trucking company. They win a contract to haul a load from a shipper, but, they have no trucks.
Right.
They then turn around and illegally subcontract that exact load to a real trucker for a much lower rate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The scammer pockets the original, higher payment, and vanishes.
Leaving the actual driver unpaid.
Completely unpaid. And it leaves the shipper holding all the legal liability. It just creates total chaos.
That's insane. So because of that chaos, the ultimate guiding principle of modern trucking web design basically boils down to answering one single, very aggressive question.
Right.
Which is, can a shipper, broker, or driver trust this company within 30 seconds?
That 30-second window is everything.
It sounds a lot like online dating, honestly. But for hauling 40,000 pounds of highly valuable cargo...
That's actually a pretty perfect analogy.
Right. You need to instantly verify they aren't catfishing you before you hand over your livelihood. I mean, it's wild how a website is now a literal compliance document repository.
It really is. What's fascinating here is that trust signals are no longer just a nice-to-have element buried way down in the footer of a web page.
Right.
They are the primary conversion metric. If a shipper lands on a carrier's homepage and cannot instantly verify their legal legitimacy, they bounce to the next carrier.
Instantly.
Instantly. There is zero tolerance for ambiguity now. In response to the fraud epidemic, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, the FMCSA, runs a system called SAFER.
Okay.
And that system has effectively become the public trust database for the entire industry.
Because a carrier has to display their US DOT number and Their MC authority right at the top of the page now, right?
Yes, front and center.
And let's clarify that for a second.
Right.
MC stands for Motor Carrier Authority. It is the federal government's legal permission for a company to transport regulated commodities across state lines for payment.
Exactly. It's their license to exist.
Right. And if that number is inactive or revoked, and a shipper loads their cargo onto that truck anyway, that freight is going to get impounded at the very first highway way station it hits.
Yeah, the cargo gets locked down. And this demand for instant verification has spawned an entirely new ecosystem of third-party verification platforms.
Right. I saw that in the source text.
Yeah, modern carrier websites aren't just typing out their MC numbers in plain text anymore. They're actively integrating and linking to live databases.
Like Carrier Brief and Search Mule, right?
Exactly. Carrier Brief, Search Mule, and Cargocredible. These platforms exist solely because the psychology of the buyer has completely shifted.
How do you mean?
Well, a shipper doesn't want to read marketing copy that says, "We are a reliable partner."
Right. Anyone can write that.
Exactly. They want to click a badge that proves legally and transparently that the carrier is authorized to operate, has active insurance policies, and has been in business for more than 6 months.
They want the receipts.
They want the receipts. And if that proof isn't seamless and immediate within that first 30 seconds, the transaction simply dies.
Okay, so all right, let's see a carrier passes that 30-second trust test.
Okay.
So visitor hasn't bounced. But now we run into this massive structural challenge.
Right.
Once a website proves it can be trusted, who exactly is it trying to talk to? Because a courier's site has to serve two fundamentally different, equally demanding audiences without confusing either of them.
Yes, the two-headed monster.
The two-headed monster. Designing for shippers who have freaked to move and designing for drivers who actually need a job.
This is a profound user experience challenge. You have two distinct user personas arriving at the exact same digital front door with entirely opposite needs.
Completely opposite.
So this necessitates what we call the gateway design strategy. Modern sites literally ask the visitor up front, often with two massive buttons on the homepage.
Like, are you shipping freight or are you driving trucks?
Exactly. They use that initial click to funnel users into highly specialized, completely isolated pathways.
I have to push back on this dual-purpose design, though.
Okay, let's hear it.
You are talking about essentially building two separate websites. You've got a high-stakes corporate sales engine on one side and an urgent job board on the other, all under one single domain.
Yes.
Doesn't that mean doubling the web development budget, running two completely different search engine optimization strategies, and constantly managing two sets of copy?
It does.
So does the return on investment actually justify that massive upfront cost and complexity? How do they avoid massive information overload for you, the visitor?
You have to look at the sheer cost of diluted messaging. If you blend a corporate pitch and a job fair into one single page, you fail at both.
Really? It's that binary.
It is. Let's look at the driver shortage, which remains the single biggest operational bottleneck in logistics right now.
Right. Everyone needs drivers.
An empty, parked truck costs a carrier thousands of dollars a week in lost revenue and financing costs. So if a driver lands on a website looking for a job and has to wade through, paragraphs about supply chain optimization just to find out what the hourly pay is,
They're just going to leave.
they are gone. The dedicated driver pathway must aggressively market to potential hires with absolute transparency.
What kind of transparency?
We're talking about upfront salary listings, which, by the way, are currently hitting the $70K to $90K range and even higher for top carriers.
Wow, that's serious money.
It is. And they need clear details on home time policies. Home time is a driver's primary concern.
Right, because they're on the road constantly.
Exactly. They want to know exactly how many days they will be sleeping in a truck versus sleeping in their own bed. Mentioning platforms like HireCDLA.com and Driverness is also huge here for recruitment.
And on the flip side, the shipping procurement manager looking to move, say, those temperature-controlled pharmaceuticals, they couldn't care less about a trucking company's pet rider policy for its drivers.
Precisely. The shipper pathway is built for a completely different mindset. A shipper needs to see reliability, interactive service maps, and instant, quote, options.
Right.
They need highly specific service pages. A site cannot just say, we haul anything.
Because nobody believes that anyway.
Right. They need dedicated landing pages for dry van reefer, which is refrigerated freight flatbed, LTL.
And LTL stands for less than truckload, meaning the shipper is only renting a portion of the trailer space, right?
Exactly. And they also need pages for dedicated routes, cross-border expedited shipping. Those specific pages are required because a company shipping delicate electronics needs to know their cargo won't be loaded next to a leaky pallet of fresh produce.
Yeah, that would be a disaster. That makes the separation completely logical, honestly.
It's mandatory.
You build a highway with two very distinct off-ramps right at the start. And one thing that applies to both of those off-ramps is the demand for authenticity.
Oh, absolutely.
Like stock photos are completely dead in this space.
Yes, they are.
If you are trying to convince a shipper that your fleet is meticulously maintained, or trying to convince a driver that the company culture actually respects its workers, a stock photo of a smiling male model in a spotless hard hat instantly destroys the trust you just spent 30 seconds building.
It really does. They need to see high-quality photos of the actual trucks,
Yeah.
real driver videos. Authenticity is the actual currency here.
Right. And showing the average age of the fleet is crucial too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because newer equipment signals reliability to a corporate shipper and physical safety to a prospective driver.
Exactly. The visual authenticity gets them in the door, but the operational reality is what actually closes the deal. The entire philosophy has shifted from tell me what you can do to show me the raw data.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because serving these two distinct audiences requires way more than just authentic photos and clever copywriting. The modern carrier website is heavily integrated with complex technology.
Heavy integration.
I really like the analogy of an airport control tower.
That's a good one.
But, an airport control tower doesn't just display weather data. It actively directs traffic to prevent catastrophic collisions. And a trucking website has to do the exact same thing for the supply chain.
It really does. For shippers, visibility into that supply chain is everything. They expect streamlined, quote, forms that commit to turnarounds, like quotes within 2 hours,
Right.
or even automated pricing calculators for common shipping lanes. They expect TMS transportation management system integration, but the real heavy lifting happens in the background through EDI and API integrations.
Okay, let's break those down because they are thrown around a lot in the tech space.
Sure.
EDI is electronic data interchange, and API is application programming interface. In simple terms, this means letting the shipper's computer system directly command the trucking company's computer system without a human ever typing anything on a keyboard.
That's exactly how it works. If a major retailer like Target needs to move 20 loads of inventory, their system pings the carrier system via API, books the load, dispatches the truck, and generates the billing automatically.
That is wild.
And it doesn't stop there. Once that truck is on the road, the shipper expects a portal with real-time GPS tracking, proactive exception alerts if the truck hits a massive traffic jam, and even live temperature monitoring.
The temperature monitoring is fascinating.
It's vital. If a refrigerated truck hauling delicate goods drops by 2 degrees, the system triggers an automatic geofence or temperature alert so the carrier can route that truck to a repair facility before the cargo spoils.
Wow.
The website is actively preventing that logistical collision.
It's incredible. It's literally a live data feed of your cargo moving across the country at exactly 38 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
And the transparency gets even more intense on the safety and compliance side.
Oh, the safety metrics are completely transparent now.
Yeah, trucking companies are now taking their internal, heavily scrutinized safety audits and pinning them directly to the homepage. They are broadcasting what are called CSA basics. That's compliance, safety, and accountability scores.
The mechanism behind those CSA scores is relentless.
How-
Well, the FMCSA gathers this data from every roadside inspection, every way station stop, and every single highway patrol crash report across the entire country.
Well, nowhere to hide.
Exactly. Carriers are forced to publicly display their metrics on things like unsafe driving, their crash indicator, vehicle maintenance records.
And they track controlled substances and hazmat handling too, right?
Yes. Controlled substances, hazmat, and general driver fitness, all public.
And hours of service compliance, which is a huge one.
A massive one.
Because drivers are legally restricted on how many hours they can drive without sleeping. And it is all tracked by an electronic logging device, or ELD, hardwired right into the truck's engine.
You can't fake it anymore.
Right. If a carrier's drivers are constantly violating their sleep schedules to deliver faster, that data feeds back to the government, spikes their CSA score, and the website has to display it.
Think about the operational causality of that. If a carrier's crash indicator or unsafe driving metric spikes by even 2%, their insurance premiums skyrocket. But worse, the algorithms used by massive corporate shippers will automatically disqualify that carrier from bidding on contracts entirely.
They just get locked out of the market.
Exactly. That is why carriers also prominently feature these alphabet soup certifications like CTPAT, ISO, and SmartWay.
Let's decode those quickly for everyone listening.
Sure.
CTPAT is the Customs Trade Partnership Against Terrorism. If you have that, your trucks get a fast pass through international borders, which obviously means less waiting for the shipper.
It's a huge advantage.
Right. And ISO refers to strict international standards for operational management, basically proving your back office isn't a chaotic mess.
Yes.
And SmartWay is an EPA certification proving your trucks are highly fuel efficient and environmentally conscious, which really matters to corporate shippers trying to meet their own green initiatives.
Exactly. When you combine that hard API data and public safety scoring with the human elements, like displaying customer logos from recognizable brands, video testimonials, or highlighting the length of relationships, like stating, proudly serving ABC Manufacturing for 12 years.
Oh, I see.
When you put all that together, you create an airtight case for reliability. The technology proves the capability, and the history proves the consistency.
Okay, so we have this incredibly sophisticated control tower built out. It's handling APIs, it's routing job applicants, it's verifying federal trust records.
It's doing a lot.
But having all this advanced technology is completely useless if the people who actually execute the labor cannot access it flawlessly.
Right. That's the catch.
Because we aren't talking about executives sitting at a dual monitor desk in a corner office here.
No, not at all.
We are talking about dispatchers sitting in a diner in Nebraska trying to coordinate a route change.
Yep.
Or a driver sitting in the cab of a truck at a rest stop.
Which is why a flawless mobile experience is categorized as an absolute mandate. It's non-negotiable. Trucking is inherently a mobile industry. The users are constantly in motion. If a dispatcher on a weak 4G connection is trying to upload a bill of lading and the carrier's mobile site is bloated with heavy code or has a non-responsive design,
the whole supply chain stalls.
Exactly. It grinds to a halt.
The mobile reality requires extremely fast loading speeds and massive, thumb-friendly click-to-call buttons. But the really fascinating adaptation is the reliance on SMS-based options.
Yes, texting is huge in this space.
Text to apply for drivers is a massive feature. If you ask a trucker sitting in a cab to fill out a 5-page PDF application and attach a cover letter, you lose them instantly to a competitor who just asked for a text message.
Without a doubt.
And shippers also rely on text for instant tracking updates and, quote, approvals. And there is a massive technical penalty for ignoring this.
A huge penalty from Google.
Right. Because Google uses mobile-first indexing, which means it looks at the mobile version of a website to determine search rankings. It doesn't matter if a trucking company has the most brilliant desktop API integration in the world. If their mobile site fails to load quickly, Google simply erases them from search results.
They essentially vanish. They cease to exist to new customers.
So what does this all mean?
Well, it highlights the sheer exhaustion of this approach.
Exactly. It means a massive amount of continuous upkeep. You can't just hire a firm, build this complex engine, and then ignore it for 5 years.
No, you definitely cannot build it and forget it.
Carrier websites require what the industry calls worry-free support from web developers who can action instant changes. Because the real world demands it.
Right.
If the global price of diesel fuel spikes overnight, a carrier's automated quoting system needs to have its fuel surcharge updated instantly so they don't lose money on every load.
Immediate updates.
And if their federal insurance certificate goes through its annual renewal, the new PDF needs to be uploaded to the site immediately, or they will fail that 30-second trust test we talked about earlier.
This raises an important question regarding continuous investment.
Okay, what is it?
It summarizes the whole conclusion of the source material. Websites must transform into integrated business systems tied directly to sales and operations. The concept of the living website.
A living asset.
Exactly. Carriers are continually adjusting lane routes. If a company wants to win bids and keep their fleet moving, they are constantly analyzing data and building hyper-specific lane landing pages targeting regional contracts.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, for example, if they have extra trucks sitting in Chicago, they will spin up a targeted landing page specifically marketing a dedicated lane from Chicago to Atlanta. And they'll adjust the SEO to capture shippers looking for that exact route today.
Wow.
The digital strategy is entirely indistinguishable from the operational strategy. They are one and the same.
It's an incredible evolution when you step back and really look at it. The freight industry's digital presence has morphed from basic, static, stock photo brochures into these hyper-agile, mobile-first engines.
It's a complete transformation.
They are simultaneously generating legal trust, recruiting a massive workforce, and providing live temperature-controlled tracking data, all in an environment where the margin for error is effectively zero.
And bringing this all back to you, the listener,
Yes, let's connect the dots.
whether you are working in software tech, retail, healthcare, or any other field, the evolution of these trucking websites proves a universal truth about the modern market.
Which is,
Flawless user experience, instant transparency, and verifiable trust signals are the ultimate competitive advantage in any B2B space.
absolutely.
The demand for self-service research and the instant verification is not confined to the logistics industry. It has become the absolute baseline for how business gets done everywhere.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating thought to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
If an industry as deeply physical as hauling heavy freight, an industry built on diesel, steel, and asphalt, relies this heavily on digital trust signals and instant verification just to survive, what invisible vulnerabilities exist in your own industry's digital handshake that you haven't noticed yet?